crush the curve, bend the curve, PPE, face mask. As soon as this barricade is lifted, it's just like how America now has reopened from COVID. Florida's open, Georgia's open, Washington's still locked down. Guam is still open. So we're seeing that a unified voice that used to be right here, it's not quite right here right now. We want to be able to see how we can bring that. You know what I'm saying? If that get a fundamental understanding around what's occurring and why that voice is not there. People want to know. This is what we're kind of reporting on, and if that voice will return. You know what I'm saying? And gone from a unified standpoint to, it's lots of different issues and everything else. We saw a lot of discussion yesterday evening. A lot of the people who are, really on Black Lives Matter and everything, BLM, they felt some kind of way because the natives put the teepee out there, and then the teepee was all people talked about on TV, and then nobody talked about Black Lives Matter in the media reports. And then, we caught it all on tape. It's all on the stream, and actually we've already uploaded it. We'll release the YouTube after this episode, right, or after the morning show. It's about a 2-hour stream. We also talked to a local business owner over here who said he's suffering, man. He said he was suffering as an auto repair shop right around the corner on 12th Avenue. He said he's lost over $55,000 in business. And the biggest thing is what he said is he feels that nobody cares as far as people in the city and everything else. He said that his representatives don't care, and so he said he's at his wit's end. And he said the police won't respond and fire won't respond, although he's two blocks from fire. But he is on 12th, and he's kind of on the border of the chaz, so he said he can't get any emergency services at his business. I bring all that up because it's like, man, like I said, I want to talk to everybody. I'm not trying to paint a picture of something that it isn't, and that's why we stream, because the stream, the camera just sees what it sees. I take some photography and put up pictures and things, and that could be subjective, but it's like the stream sees what it sees. Right. Anyways, on that, you know what I'm saying, bumped into this young brother here yesterday. It's my man JC. From Atlanta, Georgia, from the OVT network. I thought that we would just get a quick view right here and some feedback as somebody who's not from Seattle, doesn't know our politics or anything, who's an independent media, independent journalist, you know what I'm saying, who traveled from Atlanta to see what was going on in Seattle. Man, welcome to the Morning Update Show, JC.
Appreciate it, man.
You got to get it right here, man. You got to use that big Atlanta voice. Hey!
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, like you said, I came here from Atlanta. I just really wanted to check it out because on the East Coast, we don't see this. On the East a week ago. And I know about it because I follow on social media and, I follow different people. I follow the hashtags, all of that, but I know for a fact this is still going on, and it's a really big major thing. The police pulled out of their precinct, and people are occupying it, and they've spray painted it, and they've decorated it with all types of black art, Black Lives Matter, all types of positive imagery. So I'm like, the thing with the OVT network is we tell black stories. That's what we've always done. That's something we do as a specialty. So it's I have to be here because it's one of the biggest black stories that I can think of in modern. It's one of the biggest things that happen in modern times. I can't think of any other first world country, quote unquote, to overthrow a police station. It's just wild.
Man, it didn't quite happen like that.
But yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, what we're hearing right now, and nobody's actually clear on it, but what we're hearing from Chief Best and some of the information that she released is that she didn't want to give up the police station, but a police chief is appointed, a sheriff is elected,
right?
And so you know what I'm saying, that they closed it up. We hear a lot of protesters though saying, and even us out here, when they said they were going to get passage on Pine, I really just thought that they were going to open up Pine. They might put some barricades there with some people behind it, and that, you know what I'm saying, it would keep it. We were shocked. We were shocked. Bobby Steels hit me, and Bobby Steels was like, hey, bro, man, the moving trucks in and out of the East Street. I said, impossible. It's like, no, man, you know what I'm saying? I got my recon info. How Bobby Steels gets his info, I don't know. But, man, we came out here, we saw them, and they moved out. Nobody expected the Seattle Police Department to abandon this precinct. And after following it the whole time here from day one, no one expected it, and especially not the protesters. You know, if they knew, let's just be honest, if they knew that the precinct was going down, they would have had all the Chaz manifesto and everything out well beforehand, all this kind of stuff and everything else. They had no idea that it was going to happen. So, but either way, the power of their protests did force the Seattle Police Department to abandon the East Precinct.
And like I say, yeah, like that's a monumental thing. And then just coming here and seeing the solidarity and what I want to say, like the consensus, like the consortium of everything, like, you know what I'm saying? Like everything is here, everybody's here. But like I was telling you yesterday, like I saw some things yesterday that I really liked, and I saw some things yesterday that I didn't like. And in particular, you know, I saw 2 black women lead a march, and they walked past this precinct right here where there was a stage, and there were some artists performing, and the guy literally stops her march, co-ops it so we can listen to your not great music. And I'm like, I feel some type of way about that. It's
you know, you're from Atlanta, so his music meter is very high off the chain.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
I said what I said.
Jay-Z down in Atlanta.
I said what I said.
Okay.
I said what I said. But yeah, like, and that's just my thing. Like, it's from the beginning of this, it's always been black women building up, leading, marching for everybody. And so it's like to see another black man take the shine from 2 black women that are actually doing something, like one actionable, they're doing something that matters. To have people just stand there and you literally say, okay, well, after we finish playing our music, then we can get back to the march. Like, I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. Like, that's not what this is supposed to be. Like, that's not how this works. This is not a personal concert for you.
Okay, but hold on. So let me ask you a question, because Seattle comes on, excuse me, Seattle comes under a lot of heat from people around the country because they say that, man, Seattle protesters, they're not protesting the way you're supposed to protest. I didn't know protesters even had the rule book, bro. I mean, I did see how these guys in Hong Kong released some video of people who use laser, use umbrella, do all this kind of stuff. But it's like Seattle protest is different because you got people at the front of the Western Barricade, like my crazy butt when I was covering the protesters there. You catch the tear gas and everything else. But if you talk to Martial Law of the Martial Law Band, he was protesting by playing that band, his band playing there every single day. Then you got some people who are in the park and, you know, they have their Super Soaker protest. And then you got Mutual Aid. They're giving peanut butter and jelly. They're protesting. If you talk to the medics are like, man, we're definitely protesting, but our protest is medical.
Yeah.
But I think that people look at Seattle, and I'm not saying whether it is or isn't. I'm just saying that it's very unique here. But Seattle people, this protest has come under a lot of heat, like on Twitter and those spaces, because they were like, what are these guys doing? They're not protesting hard enough.
So originally, when I came here, I came here unbiased opinion, and I wanted to, like, that was the point of me coming to this story, because like a lot of people are writing from the outside, like, is this distracting from the movement? And since I've been here, I'm gonna say no. Like, my opinion has changed on that. But to that point, there's a time and place for everything. And so that guy disrupting a march to do something.
I see.
To have people literally stop, say a couple sparkly words, and then like play a set, like I don't understand.
So what you're saying is you weren't necessarily against the music,
right?
It was just you're saying it's time and place. That was another.
Well, I
big
said what I said about the
night.
music, but that's not here nor there.
He said it was bad music. Jeez. But that was a discussion last night, and it was a discussion where we had with the native elders that were over there and a few other people, because they were like, look, man, you guys need to bring the music down, respect the neighbors who are over here, do this and that and everything else. She was like, man, the neighbors are also sacrificing because they're allowing this and that and everything. Right. And there's a lot of people who was talking her down for a second. And this is a well-respected, native elder, you know what I'm saying? Who was at Standing Rock, all that, man, you know what I'm saying? She got her stripes and everything,
right?
And their position or proposition or whatever, I'm not here right now to debate that back and forth, but the fact is that this is a real recognized elder who if you're in the protest world, is like, is out there.
Right.
And, people were like, well, the music is the energy. The music is going to keep people here and this and that. And she was like, man, if you guys got to have the music to keep your energy to protest, it was like, man, it might not be in you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't know. It was like all kinds of conversations. I know that like having it musical here. One thing that I told you, I explained to you yesterday, was on that last Sunday. It was a week ago yesterday. The police had pushed all the protesters and the journalists like myself down there on 11th Avenue, and then they were basically in between Pike and Pine on 11th, and on this side, which is the Pine side, the police are now throwing flash grenades. It's some kind of gas. They said it wasn't tear gas because at that point it had been banned, but it was some kind of gas that was in the air, and it was training to rubber bullets, so people could hear on rubber bullets. At the end of the block at Pike, the Marshall Law Band, these guys are still playing. They're over there getting hit with all kinds of stuff. They're still playing. So it's like
time and place.
Like
that, that's dope. Are you playing through all of this going on like that? That is a form of oppression. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that time and place. But like, again,
okay,
disrupting. I don't understand or agree with disrupting an actual movement to do something to have people listen to a set, especially when you're not really talking about anything. Like, it's just like I said, that's just me personally. And then on that note too, when you're talking about with the native folks, like the thing that I dislike to see among people of color is like I feel like we get into an oppression Olympics where it's
hold on,
where it's like
we get in an oppression Olympics.
Oppression Olympics, like, well, my people did this, my people did that, or my people did like no. Like, let's not do that. That's separative. Like, if this is going to be an actual movement, we have to come together and we have to recognize each other's different struggles and stories and then move forward, and respect our differences inside of the thing, but realize that we're all essentially marching for the same thing.
All right. Oppression Olympics.
Yeah.
Man, can I bite that? I mean, I'm a credit, I got to put that somewhere.
I actually got it from somebody else. I don't know where I heard it, but like that is the perfect description.
All right, that's cool. That means I'm gonna snatch that.
Yeah. But you can still credit me.
You
should.
Okay. So, otherwise, man, what are your thoughts of our fair city? I know in Atlanta, in the A right now, it's definitely hot and on fire. But I'm not talking about the streets. I'm talking about the weather because it's the middle of June. You're out here in Seattle, and man, is this what you expected?
I mean, I've been in Seattle before, so rain. It's a little chilly. It's a little different. It's 50 degrees versus 90, but you get used to it. It's 50 degrees versus 90, but you get used to it. So, yeah.
So what are some of the other things as an outsider, fresh eyes from Atlanta that you're seeing out here, what I'm saying, that might stand out to you, some things that you might have seen or not seen in other protests?
Going back to it again, when we did our side interview yesterday, like you said, the white people here really have showed up and showed out, and they have like literally allowed themselves to be a stepping stone, to be a platform for people of color to be heard. And that's not something that I can say that I've seen on that level in such a way.
We had a real interesting conversation, and the only way to really keep it real is to kind of keep it real. So we just say white or black or Asian or native or whatever.
Right.
And so JC said to me yesterday, he was like, man, this would never go down in Atlanta, man, where, guys just take over a police station, or this would never go down in Philly or Houston or anything. And I told JC, I was like, yeah, man, I agree. But I said, I don't think the story is so much, it is kind of, they've got this police station here, but I don't think that's so much the story that in Seattle, they were able to push the police, I guess, out of their own precinct. And that couldn't happen in Atlanta or all these other places, or by the time somebody got to the precinct, it wouldn't look, intact or anything like that. What I said is I thought the bigger story is that every single day, thousands of white people came out to protest and make enough noise. And they came out here consistently every single day. White people came out here every single day to protest, got smacked. And the people who got smacked definitely came back every day. If they got gassed on Monday, they came back on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? If they got something on Tuesday, they came back on Wednesday. Thousands of white people came through here every day to protest, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For basically for a cause, for equality, for people that will probably never meet. You know what I'm saying? And the end result of that is that these guys vacated the precinct.
Right.
So the bigger question is, how come Seattle's the only city where you'll get thousands of white people every single day in the streets? It's not so much that, oh, Seattle's a city that, oh, they got a precinct here and everything else. How come in Houston there isn't thousands? And, man, you know what I'm saying? This isn't the Poor People's March, by the way.
Right.
This is an affluent neighborhood. A lot of people who've been protesting, they live in the neighborhood. That's one of the things that was feeling it. Thousands of white people every single day. So how come that didn't happen in D.C.? How come it didn't happen in Atlanta?
Your
how
question
come it
is
didn't,
as good as mine,
How come
brother.
it didn't happen? That's something that makes Seattle very unique. That they came here every day and they put that pressure, and that pressure ultimately caused the Seattle Police Department to abandon their precinct. So that's something that's very unique about Seattle. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that you came up, JC, because I never thought about it like that until you was like, oh, okay, well, man, this wouldn't have happened back home. Mm-hmm. Something else that might not have happened in a lot of cities in America is this pressure these guys put on a precinct every single day. And now, you know, now their demands are literally on the mayor's desk. They're credibly being reviewed. Our first guest today, K.Y. King Garrett of the Africatown Community Land Trust. The city on Friday, they transferred Fire Station 6, which was supposed to be transferred for years. They transferred it on Friday. So things are actually happening here. But I think that if you look at it kind of in that lens, it's interesting in Seattle is what's making it unique here as opposed to other parts of the country.
Okay. I gotta agree, man. Different level of allyship here. Like, I've never seen that before. Different level. Different level.
Oh, okay. So we're 10. So, hey, we got to wrap. I think we got another podcast to record here in a few minutes. JC, stay right here on set, though. Don't just run up. JC, thank you so much for coming out. And, man, you know what I'm saying? We're here for you. It'd be nice to, you know what I'm saying, pop in every once in a while. Before you leave, we'll get you on the podcast. By the way, so we started a podcast right now. It's called Voices of the Chop. If it stays chop, we'll do that. The first episode is me and Postman Bobby Steels. You know what I'm saying? That's coming out later on today. A lot more interesting stuff on our social media as well. We're going to get ready to get out of here. I'll be streaming later on tonight, but we're going to do a special live because I want to talk about what I witnessed last night on our stream. So we'll talk to you there. You know what the best thing is, JC?
Yeah, what's up?
Is that, man, you know, we end every show standing. You know why?
Why?
Because at the end of every show, we play Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Okay.
My name's the Big O, Omari Salisbury. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., right here on the Morning Update Show.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Sing it again now. The victory is won. Victory
if you look at Capitol Hill and the people that live there, they don't have a community center. They don't have anything like that in that area. So this is what's important more to the people than the police. And I know that there's going to be that argument, well, oh, you know, once we take away from the police, there's going to be the fact that there's more crime rate going up, which is debatable. But I mean, history's already shown that in New York, when this was previously done, when their union decided to pull police department, the policing down a little bit. It's not that anything happened anymore. Crime didn't happen anymore any less. Just the arrests went down because they didn't have such a huge quota to try to make up for, to explain why they're trying to arrest people for no reason, just to make up for those taxpayers' dollars that are overpriced anyways. And I mean, so the main agenda is trying to make sure that the police department is not the only resource that you have when you call 911 besides fire and medical. You should be able to have a lot more allocated dollars towards real community resources that don't have to fend for the scraps that are left over after the police departments have depleted the rest of the funds. It's not fair to the rest of this social, you know, nonprofit organizations that really care about the people that are here on the streets, that are there really working for the communities. And, you know, the police departments, I'm not sitting here saying that they don't work for the communities, which a lot of times there's a lot of bad cops that work against the communities and bring us to these conversations, but it's the fact that we allow them to have the power to do such. And it's the people who are going to have the power to take that away. And we're not going to continue to prolong this, because I know that they would like to sit here and wait this movement out. But unfortunately, you know, we'll outweigh their terms in waiting in these parks and waiting on their doorsteps and coming to city council and marching. People aren't afraid to get arrested in this movement. We're dying out here. So, I mean, they can't stop the clock on how long they arrest us. As long as we're peaceful, a bell shouldn't be that much.
Right. No, thank you so much, Tristan. And one really important thing to remember, and I was just looking at the Seattle Times has an article right now. Over the last 5 years, the police department budget has grown by more than